So, we're here with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight-up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing, and today we're going to talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The game definitely tells you what you're getting. Ultimate feels like the Ultimate Smash Collection. The literal most Smash we've ever had up until this point. It doesn't waste time featuring certain new things while sacrificing a bunch of others. It doesn't trip over itself with attempting to over-innovate or fix what wasn't broken. But content-wise, it gives you a goddamn truckload. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is absolutely great. To me, personally, I always need to give a fighting game disclaimer for the haters out there. No, I'm not like a fighting game tournament champion or anything like that. I actually kind of suck, so I can't comment on deep metagame mechanics, but I can say the formula remains solid from where I'm sitting. Super Smash Bros. Combat is as smashy as it's ever been, with a bit more of a stylistic camera that will dynamically move in for some 1v1 stuff, and some over-the-top stylized finishing slow-mo smashes that I really like. And considering the game features every single damn fighter that has ever been in the games, it doesn't feel like a shit show at all. The work was clearly put in to get all of these characters fighting in sync with one another pretty flawlessly. The game launches with 74 characters, which feels absolutely freaking massive as it sounds. At first, I was pretty cranky to see the game only gives you 8 characters to start with. It kind of seems like a bummer, like a total buzzkill. You have to random encounter them and fight them to unlock them in typical Smash fashion, but it's a lot when you're grinding through over 60 characters, especially considering it can get extremely difficult at times. But after working through characters, you really learn to appreciate that grind. You gotta earn that roster, and building it up feels so satisfying. It actually caught me by surprise how it's one of my favorite aspects of the game. It may not be super accessible to casual players, but it is really rewarding. Plus, you have 100 maps to play through, oftentimes featuring multiple music tracks and remixes. Not every map is new, some are remastered. There are only a handful of new ones, but the sheer amount and variety makes up for the somewhat disappointing amount of new ones, especially seeing some of the old ones brightened up for 2018. I think it's worth it. And online play, connection-wise, has seemed good so far, with matchmaking being fairly decent if you're up for actually getting Nintendo's online service, which I'm still personally kind of iffy about. But you matchmake based on your rule preferences, which I really appreciate, and you can play co-op online. The options here are pretty fleshed out. But all types of play have been shaken up, even if you're on the couch, with emphasis on building out your own rules and fight types. I mean, you've always had options in these games for rules, but it feels more front and center here, as well as a mode where you battle it out with other players over a roster that whittles down after every match. I like stuff like that. It changes how I play a little bit. Then, of course, there's World of Light mode. This is like a big, full-fledged, almost RPG-style mode with stats and leveling up, not to be confused with the traditional arcade mode, which the game does still have. I'll get to that. Story-wise, the world of Smash is basically Thanos snapped, and it's up to Kirby to wander a map and free enslaved characters who you can then play as. It's filled with choices and spirits that are in an incredibly in-depth system of like capturing these spirits and using modifiers to give you certain buffs, advantages, and stuff like that, all to contend with the variety of different matches that have all sorts of issues in them. It's often about auto-equipping a lot of the time, but the mode still gets impressively challenging. And you can really say that about most modes. My one criticism of the game is that with all the items and like summons and the new stuff in the standard play, the screen gets as hectic as ever. The game performance-wise handles it like a champ, but when you're playing with everything turned on and all the rules and like 4 players, occasionally I felt like a confused old man who loses my character's place. But of course, that's more of a personal taste thing than a technical critique. Also, I love the new characters, most notably King K. Rool, who is a fantastic cocaine lizard, but he works as a great heavyweight, and since I'm basic and boring and usually main as Link, I've grown to love the Belmonts as like gadget tool-based fighters. Smash has always been a social affair for me, but I really love and appreciate being able to spend so much time with it in single player thanks to all these modes. Arcade mode too is totally fleshed out with tons of difficulty options, stuff to work through, and unique and actually freaking interesting boss battles for a lot of certain characters. That right there, along with everything else, shows Sakurai and his team clearly pulled out all the stops on this one. I haven't even had time to talk about everything, but I will say, if you have a Switch, and if you like a little competitive action, hardcore fighting game, or otherwise casual, I don't think you'll regret this one. Of course, it's still up in the air. I don't know how the community, the hardcore community, will embrace it, but I will say, even if you're like a casual fan, or maybe you just skipped out on the last Smash or two, like the Wii U one, you're definitely gonna dig this. But of course, that's a before you buy. I give you pros, cons, and personal opinion, so now I definitely want to hear yours down in the comments. Let's talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Who's your favorite character? Out of freaking all of them. If you have like a top 5 list of characters, I'd love to hear it. If you got any questions for us or anything like that, we'll be down in the comments talking as much as possible. But of course, if you got anything else for me, be sure to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino. But if you enjoyed this video and maybe we helped you out, you learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out, and we really appreciate it. And if you're new, it's worth mentioning you should subscribe and hit the notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time! Sudden death, go! Game! Give up the longest work!